I wonder how the games industry is doing at the moment. Oh, right, it looks like you could use some advice on how to make profitable games. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the Spiffing Brit, exploiter of games and drinker of tea, and today we're going to be designing a game inside of MMORPG Tycoon 2. The shareholders have set me the task of making them £1 million in 1 week, or they'll shut down my studio and take away my tea. We can't let that happen, but unfortunately this already absurd challenge is even more difficult, because the suits think that free-to-play games are so hot right now. So guess what? We're now on extra hard mode as we can't sell our game for any money and we can't charge a subscription price to play. This might be impossible, but I'm a master exploiter of people and games. So with some perfectly balanced ideas, I will show those game executives who is boss. This is the story of the world's greatest game. This is the story of Kingdom Hearts. Wait, that IP's already taken. Okay, this is United Kingdom Hearts, legally distinct edition. So when making our game, we need a lovely icon, and we are of course going to go for the big bag of cash. After all, it's what our investors would have wanted. Then we need to pick an MMO type. Most of the MMO options are very simple, like your standard story-based MMO to your full-on PvP MMO games. They all make a lot of sense, and they make money in a very normal way. You pay to buy the game, and then you have to pay a monthly subscription fee to keep playing the game. However, that model is so 2010s. Instead, it's all about free-to-play live service games. This is not a recommended way of playing the game. In fact, the game already says, warning, advanced tactics required. Because yes, we can't actually make money when people buy and play the game. We have to think outside of the box. Now we do get some starting appeal that we get to throw down, and we're going to dump all of these points into explorers. People who just enjoy the journey and wandering around and visiting new places. Then we need to design our map like so, and now the logo. And this is going to be our logo, United Kingdom Hearts. Alright, let's throw ourselves into this game. Firstly, what is MMORPG Tycoon 2? Well, it's an indie game where you get to design your own MMO game, from enemies, quests, and even the microtransactions. It's also one of the greatest management tycoon games ever made, so here we are, with the perfect framework to make a perfectly balanced game. Ah, what a wonderful opening. This is the landscape that we have before us. Our little continent of United Kingdom Hearts. Now, we start out the game with £100,000. This money has come to us in the form of a loan, and we need to pay back £150,000 in order to get our money back. Now when it comes to actually playing the game, we're going to need to buy a section of this world map, which we'll be doing down here. It wants to be called Ravenfall Pass, but come on, this is United Kingdom Hearts. This shall instead be Grimsby. Yes, perfect. We can make a lot of alterations to this world here, like for example making it look incredibly gloomy, because that's just how Grimsby looks, and of course adding in the perpetual state of a storm, because this is the northeast of England after all. How could it not be stormy? Now we're just going to design ourselves a first initial district here. There we go, perfect. This should be a perfect design to build Grimsby on top of. And then I think at the tip of the city we should be placing our starting point. This is where all of our brand new players will spawn into the world and get ready for adventure. So when it comes to running a functioning MMO, you're going to need a few key things. Certain buildings that actually make the game playable. We're going to need an inn. This is basically the base of our players. They need to go here and designate it as a home, and they'll even use it for logging out of the game. It's a very important building, so we're going to place it right over here at the end of our street. The other important building are taverns. These are a nice little social hub, a place for players to congregate and talk to each other. We of course need a blacksmith so players can buy themselves new shiny weapons, a potion shop for some of the strongest potions that you might not even be able to handle, and who could forget a little market stand shop to sell all of your loot. However, there is one final shop that is more important than all of them, the trinket cart. The trinket cart offers no real gameplay advantage other than selling something shiny, which is potentially enough to make someone want to buy it, so that way they can flex on other people. So we're going to make sure to have a trinket cart near the entrance, a trinket cart near the tavern, and a trinket cart near the inn for when everyone relogs into the game. Perfect stuff. We also want a nice big landmark so people know this is Grimsby, so we're going to build the iconic Grimsby Watchtower. And finally, we need a way to have players players respawn when they die. So we're going to build ourselves a graveyard just down here near the ocean. Splendid stuff. Now this is where things get a little bit more costly, as we need to actually build the server architecture for all of this, and that includes having a massive uplink node and a wide area network to spread out our bandwidth, so that way we can actually place down objects and build up this area. Right now our developers are flying around, individually placing down all of these items. You can see our one developer right here, because we could only afford one of them. Now we've placed down all of the basic items, but this is ultimately a video game, and we need to provide purpose to the video game. For that, we need ourselves a quest giver. I'm going to place down this scout right here. This is going to be our first quest giver in the entire game, Barry Scammermore. His entire role here is to provide the first initial quest to the players once they spawn in. His current missions are rather simple. Go to the tavern and find him some beer, and go to the blacksmith shop to buy a weapon. However, we can actually change these quests up a bit. For example, we can say go to the inn for scam quest sleep. The reason why this is a bit of a scam quest is because once you pick up this quest, our players are going to want to go to this inn and set it as their new home. A perfectly reasonable thing to do, considering the action is free. However, it doesn't have to be. So I'm going to go into the details of these quests and set them to, instead of using in-game gold, to use real pound sterling. I'll charge £5 to stay at the County Hotel, a real hotel in Grimsby with hit reviews like this. This is above a pub with loud terrible music at the time I was staying. The room was disappointing as there was hair in the bed and you could feel the spring of the mattress. Also, the chairs in the hotel were so terrible that they were covered with a towel to hide the dirt. Now that's a sign of quality worth paying £5 for. I'll charge £5 for some shiny trinkets, and £10 to get a sword if you want to fight monsters. What monsters, I hear you ask? I'll show them to you in a second. I'm just going to go out to the shops and grab some milk and cigarettes. I'll be back in a moment. Alright, and there we go. I've placed down a few more little decorative items just to make the entire environment look a little bit more lived in. Now we're going to have to do the other thing of placing down slightly more quest givers. We'll place down various guards and knights, all of whom will spawn in with a few simple quests like go to B&Q Grimsby and buy a weapon, or just enjoy the scenery and return to me, which for some reason is a quest. Now there's just one other thing we need to design. Now you might notice there aren't actually any monsters for our players to fight, but I haven't added them yet because I've actually learned that in order to maximize the hype around your video game, you want to drip feed things into your game. For example, in this initial release, we're opening up with the starting region of Grimsby, we've got guards and we've got knights, and that's quite exciting. But if we were to add everything into the initial release of the game, that's too much hype. If instead we later added the ability to fight monsters, well, that's going to be very exciting for everyone watching. Alright, the only other thing we need to do is work out how levels and experience work. We need to calculate how many quests are needed to be done in order to go from level 1 to level 2. We're going to settle on 200 quests needed before you can actually go from level 1 to 2. This way we can really maximize the value. With this though, I think we're ready to release the game into the wider world. Prepare yourselves for version 1.0. Oh, look at it, the trailer for our glorious game. Oh, it's fantastic. Developed thanks to the funding of the Victoria State Government. Code by just one dude. Art also by one dude. Some other people involved. Welcome to MMORPG Tycoon 2. Welcome to United Kingdom Hearts. Designed by me. Right, let's welcome our first player into the game. It's Earned. Here they are, freshly spawned into the world. Now, every player in our game has some statistics. We can see their real name, their class, what level they are, how much experience they have, how much time they've spent playing, when they usually play, what their expertise kind of is, anything that's in their inventory. But this is the statistic that I really care about, the money. Every time a player logs into the game, they've got a set budget that they'd be willing to spend. They also have a private bank balance. The private bank balance is inaccessible to us unless Earned here becomes addicted to the game. Then he'll be willing to spend anything on it. Anyway, Earned here has picked up his first quest, which is Scam Quest Sleep. This involves making your way over to the County Hotel and setting your home for the low cost of £5. We'll have to see how Earned manages this. But right now, currently the players are just hanging out and having conversations with each other. But yes, in total we have 15 users online. However, they are not making us any money at all. So far we can see that 2 people have gone inside of B&Q Grimsby and bought themselves weapons, meaning that B&Q Grimsby today has made £20. In fact, it's rising. B&Q Grimsby has now made £50 today, which is more than its real-world alternative. So, the game is up and running, players are now spending money to complete basic quests, and there is basically no gameplay in this game. But provided the player counts go up and the money comes in, the suited executives won't fire me yet. They didn't ask for gameplay, they asked for money. Right, so it's nearly 1 PM. The game has been live for just over 12 hours, and in that time we have made a little under £10,000. Now if someone came up to me on the streets and handed me £10,000, that's a very, very, very good day. But if you're trying to run yourself a video game, that's lay off the entire studio kind of territory. So yes, we need a way of making money very quickly, and I think that's why we need to build ourselves a premium 5-star luxury accommodation. This is going to be an inn for the wealthiest members of Grimsby who have a little bit more cash to splash. This is going to be the Premier Inn at Grimsby. So the Premier Inn in Grimsby has suddenly been summoned into the world, and if you're a new player, you're probably looking for an area to set as your home. So this is where Gran, who hasn't even spent a minute in this game, has loaded on in. Gran has loaded in with £193 in their bank, and after walking into the Premier Inn, now has 100 less pounds in their bank. Perfect stuff, this is looking good. Already the Premier Inn in Grimsby has made us £200. Is it affordable for most new players? No, it's not. Varskenmast here, who's just spawned into the game, only has £51 that they're willing to spend before they become addicted, and that means that they simply can't visit the Premier Inn, but lots of other people can. I'm going to let this run for a little while and we'll see how much money we've made after just 4 hours of running a Premier Inn. Wow, things are going great. The executives just sent me a letter saying they couldn't believe the players would be willing to spend £100 to set a spawn location, but they loved it nonetheless, and so they've agreed to keep me in charge provided the exploitation of gamers continue. Alright, so 4 hours have passed, and the Premier Inn has managed to make us £7,400. That is a very, very good sign indeed, a copious amount of money, and one where the rich who can afford it leave satisfied. Also, I think we need a new quest giver. This quest giver has one purpose. They are going to have a quest, which is to go into the Premier Inn at Grimsby and set it as your new home. This is going to be none other than the legendary Lenny Henry, guardian and overlord of the Premier Inn. And with Lenny Henry out here advertising it, the popularity of the Premier Inn has never been higher. More and more people willing to spend £100 just to stay inside of a Premier Inn. Now we need to continue improving this game, and that means adding new features. So we're actually going to start development of the Friends list, a shocking, exciting new piece of technology that we can throw out into an update called the Frond update. The Frond update costs us £10,000 to try and make, and then developing the technology of the Friends list will actually take time, but if we can manage it, then brilliant. We have ourselves an exciting new feature that will improve the addictiveness of our video game. Also, if people are willing to spend £100 on a Premier Inn, can I make an even worse inn? Okay, how about just here on this side of the road, we build a brand new inn. This is going to be the most expensive hotel that I can find in the center of Grimsby. It is none other than the Holiday Inn Express. Now, this is only going to be available for players who are willing to spend £1,000 on a place to call home inside of a video game, which they might have to undo shortly after placing it, because they'll probably pick up a quest from this guy here that tells them to set their new home over here at a place that only costs £5. I think I just saw one person go in and set their home here. 2 people. Ara, what are you doing? You haven't got the money for it. Yeah, we do have a slight predicament in that the only people who are going to be able to set this as their home are people who are truly addicted and consequently are willing to unlock their entire bank balance. That's why we need the friends list to really get people's excitement going. Oh my goodness, someone did it. Yueng here, who is addicted and so was willing to spend their entire bank balance. Now, ladies and gentlemen, my power has grown unstoppable, and so I must warn you, I will be banishing all of you to Grimsby. That is, unless you're part of the 20,000 people who like this video first, then you're safe. You don't have to go to Grimsby. If you're too late, I'm sorry. It's already over. Grimsby comes for us all in the end. Alright, and as we near the end of our first day, we've actually managed to develop the friends list, so we're going to deploy that as part of the Frond update that we're going to push out into the game. Of course, the game has to be offline for us to issue this release, so we're going to wait until it's 11 PM and then we'll start winding down the servers. But whilst that's happening, I should probably talk about how the finances for our first day have gone. Well, after waiting some more time, there have now been 3,500 microtransactions, totaling a very nice 84 several £1,000s generated in revenue. This means we've actually turned a profit on our very first day. Anyway, right, we should probably start winding down the server. So we're going to say, hey guys, you've got 1 minute to do whatever you need to do because then we're down for maintenance. So all of our players are going to run around. Some of them will try and log off early, others will go in and set their new homes. And there we go, everyone has been forcefully logged out as the game has gone offline. So with our server offline, we will now announce the release of our new 1.10 update. It's the United Kingdom Hearts Frond update. There's a certain amount of hype now shared about the player base as they've realized all this fun, cool stuff that's been added in, and they're going to start unleashing themselves back out onto the world. So, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is now Wednesday, and we have £77,000 in the bank, but most importantly, lovely VIP has joined our game. That's right, it's Mr. Beast. He's connecting and live streaming his experience on United Kingdom Hearts, and presumably this will encourage not only himself, but also his viewers to enjoy this experience and consider playing the game themselves. Now, my plan is to try and make some money off of this sudden new arrival, and then use that money to push ourselves towards the 2.0 major release, the next stage of Kingdom Hearts, where we unlock new content. Now, even though our game has only been out for a few days, we're already up to having 2,000 total subscribers who like to play this game regularly, and with an average happiness score of 4.5, we're doing very good indeed. Right, Mr. Beast has finished his gameplay session and disconnected. In doing so, he had a pretty decent satisfaction of 4, which means we should gain ourselves an extra 400 subscribers. Very nice indeed. Right, so we are approaching the end of Wednesday, and already we have ourselves £350,000 in the bank, which means I think we're actually ready to do a proper big release. That's right, version 2.0, a major update. We have ourselves several types of new technology. However, what would really hype this out of the world is some kind of new NPC type. So this is going to be the Introducing Dave update. We're going to have 2 of our developers spend 6 hours making a brand new type of NPC called Dave, and the hype alone from that should make people very excited. Now, to put this into perspective, let's compare our game with World of Warcraft. That's a game where you can quest, craft, fight, raid dungeons, slay bosses, trade, explore, form guilds, fight so many different types of monsters, and so much more. In our game, you can do fetch quests or fetch quest, and if you're especially brave, you can do a fetch quest. My, what thrilling gameplay I've invented. This definitely wouldn't drive a player insane and force them to spend all of their money, but it does. So I've realized something quite interesting. Despite the fact that we are technically a free-to-play game, which means we cost 0 money to buy and 0 money to be an active player of, I can still charge you to use the spawn beacon, which means, yes, this is a free-to-play game. However, after you make your character, you can't spawn them into the world before you pay £3. However, the interesting thing is that this is actually a bug. The game isn't meant to allow me to set a price for spawning. This is a feature they're looking at having for a later version of the game, but it's technically not in the game yet. However, I have bugged the game to make it a reality. So there we go, we've developed a brand new NPC type. So if I go into the design section here, I can make a new one. Here they are. It's Dave. We're going to max out all of his statistics, and he is fantastic. With him unlocked, we can place him down as well as a quest giver. Well, bam, there he is. Dave's one quest will be to register yourself and set your home as the most expensive inn inside of our game for a cost of 1,000 real-world pounds. However, if you take Dave's quest and complete it, you will get 100,000 in-game gold. Some people would say that it's pay to win, and to those people, I would say, yes, it 100% is. Yeah, there's no looking around it, but it works. So we're going to allocate our funds to the new legendary update of Introducing Dave, and we'll start winding the servers down for maintenance, so that way we can get everyone hyped up for the big new release of Dave. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the Dave update, Introducing Dave, with new tech like online debugging tools, things like parties, PvP jewels, leaderboards, but most importantly, Dave. Oh my goodness, is he incredible. It's live, the Introducing Dave update, coming to you right now. And wow, has this campaign worked. Popular web influencer Mr. Beast has announced that they'll be checking out our new 2.0 update. Isn't this fantastic? Everyone wants to come back. Everyone wants to see the hot new thing that is Dave. And he's going to make us thousands and thousands of pounds. So some of the other features we've added are things like parties. parties. So some of our players are now more likely to just join up in a group and go on little adventures together. They all share the same quests, they share the same loots, it's all very fun and lovely. However, the main reason we want to do this is because it allows us to start researching dungeons. Dungeons are incredibly difficult and challenging things, which we can customize endlessly. But in order to actually do a dungeon, you need a party, hence why we've bothered researching it. The other advantage is that it will make the game slightly more addictive. Absolutely everyone is more likely to be addicted when there's a leaderboard, when they can do PvP duels, and when they can run around in parties. So PvP duels we've set up for one very important reason. It's a way for our players to kill each other, which is great because we can monetize that. So in fact, we're going to say that, hey, if you want to respawn after dying, that's going to be 10 British pounds, please. Thank you very much. So the next time a player decides to duel with another, the loser will unfortunately be saddled with an additional fee. Now, that's the kind of high-stakes gameplay we like in this industry. So anyway, I'm just going to keep the game running for a while and we'll see just how many people fall in love with our brand new Dave update. Right, we're on day 4 of our glorious MMO adventure and we are more popular than ever before. There are currently 527 players online and most importantly, we're making a lot of money. I mean, yeah, I don't care about the players, I care about the profits. And ever since we've added PvP, profits have never been higher. This comes down to a few key reasons. You'll notice here 2 players are fighting, this scout and this warrior. They've each equipped themselves with some weapons that you can see, and those weapons will have cost them money to buy in a shop. Now here's the thing, these characters are rather even, and this fight is going to take a long period of time, but you'll notice after they do damage to each other, they sometimes get this nice green glow. That's because they've gone inside of their inventory and used one of these potions. So these potions get used up and eventually someone's going to lose. When that person then dies, which is the scout here, they're going to spend some money to respawn down here at the graveyard. So that's exactly what they've done, handing us 10 lovely pounds. The problem is, for both the person who won the fight and the person who lost it, they are now out of potions, which means they're going to wander on over to Grimsby Vapes here and top up their potion supply for £25 a pop. They each used 4 potions in that combat, which is £100, meaning that the average person engaging in PvP inside of this game best be willing to drop a day's wages just to have the privilege of 30 seconds of action in a game that otherwise is walking around doing fetch quests. I know, I'm a brilliant game designer, aren't I? In the background, what we're doing is researching some exciting new technology for this thing called dungeons. Also, yeah, the amount of money we have now, it's getting pretty impressive. I think there's a very real chance we're going to have to continue expanding along the shaft of Grimsby here and maybe move into a different zone just to spread out the player base a bit. Now, that's not to say that everyone's here to have a good time. Sometimes there are cheaters, and we actually have this big little magnifying glass that allows us to look around and see if there's a cheater. Like, for example, this person over here where we've detected they've got a gold farming script that they run whilst they're AFK. This is a cheating and bannable offense because it undermines the sanctity of this video game. So of course we're going to have to ban them, but before, let me just quickly check. Oh, their bank balance is really big. Oh, and they're addicted, so they're willing to spend it all. Oh, okay. Right, well, if that's the case, then I don't think we should report them. No. Congratulations, you're rich. There's no consequences for your actions. Now, the reports of crowding are really getting out of control. This starting area is just a hotbed of players, so we're going to need to spread them out, and I think a dungeon is a great way to move players around. So we're going to design ourselves a dungeon and then invite some new players to experience it. So let's get ourselves a spooky evil church built, and we'll build it all the way over here so that way the players spread out a bit. And splendid stuff. What you'll notice here is that we're actually able to charge for people to enter the dungeon. So we're going to say, hey, for £10 you can join the dungeon. So we're going to go inside of our dungeon, and now we can do a little bit of customizing. Firstly, we want to add an entrance to the dungeon where new players can arrive from. Then we're going to build ourselves a special room over here. I'm going to put a door here. We'll put down a key, and then over here we'll put down a bunch of fun chests and loot. Now, there's a whole super cool custom thing here where we could set up a boss and add multiple phases and do super cool custom abilities where we can make it look really awesome. But then again, I realize a dungeon doesn't have to have enemies in it for me to not charge money for the experience. So what I've done here is I've placed down this lovely container, which we're going to say that if you're able to reach, you'll be able to get 100 in-game gold as well as a key. I know, very cool indeed. So there we go. This is the perfect dungeon where you literally walk in, there's a big empty open room, and then in another room there's a chest with some stuff in it. It's fantastic. fantastically designed. And all I'm going to do is set up a lovely series of quests that basically involve going into the dungeon over and over again and spending a lot of money. So fantastic stuff. This is our incredible brand new design that's looking glorious, and so we'll close down the server for maintenance very shortly, and then we can launch the Bing Dungu update. I think I was trying to say Big Dungeon update, but I appear to have collapsed at my keyboard in some kind of tea-induced fever state. It happens when I don't get a fresh cup every 5 minutes. So here it is, the Big Dungeon update with dungeons, incapacity boosting, improved online debugging tools. Wow, look at it. It's really empty, but it's now live, and you can spend £10 just to experience it. Isn't that amazing? So all of our players log back online, super hyped and ready and excited to go do this dungeon experience. I know, I don't think they can wait for it. So let the game continue. This is going fantastically. We should probably be looking at the finances of these days. Now, as you can see, on our first day, we made £100,000 from nearly 4,000 microtransactions, but we've gotten significantly better as time has gone on. On our second day of operating, we managed to get ourselves nearly 8,000 microtransactions, and yesterday we managed over 11,000 microtransactions, making over £500,000. Now that's fantastic. Today we're already looking good, as we're up to £131,000 of revenue just from those microtransactions. This is looking brilliant. Yes, long may this game reign supreme. Right, so welcome one and all. I have actually been expanding our lovely video game world, so much so that I've added a second zone to the game. This is starting to become necessary because in the first zone of Grimsby, we've just got so many players running around. There's 1,000 players currently connected to the server, and all of them are hanging around here. In an effort to move them around a bit, I've actually set up this small village to the north, and to get the players moving, we've built this Raven flight point. This is going to allow people to hop on and spend £4 to ride a bird to a different section of the map. So naturally I've set up another quest giver whose entire job is to tell people to go ride the expensive bird, and then provided the players have £4 in their pocket, because oh my goodness there's a lot of players here, they'll start riding the bird around. But anyway, yes, we need to spread out these players, else our game isn't going to do very well, so let's get ourselves yet another starting point down in this wonderful location over here. Oh, we should probably also name our brand new region. This is going to be a nice part of United Kingdom Hearts. Somewhere premium, somewhere valuable, somewhere bougie. Somewhere on the coastline, like Bognor Regis. Yes, it's perfect. Okay, in order to properly launch Bognor Regis, we're going to take the server offline for maintenance in an hour, and then we'll do our big version 4.0 launch. And now I believe we're ready for release. It's version 4.0. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. A new major update with Bognor Regis. And that's it. It's now live. Go play United Kingdom Hearts. So as we head into the second month/week of running this game, because hey, time flows differently here, the reason I've stopped now is because we are also about to hit a total of 10,000 overall subscribers, which is insane. Admittedly, none of these people are paying money for this game because I set out to make a free-to-play game, and I've done that. However, we've still managed to make well over £1 million, which is an incredible amount of money, made all the more exciting by the fact that yes, here we go, ladies and gentlemen, 10,000 subscribers. What an achievement. How incredible. Now here's the thing about United Kingdom Hearts. We've hit 10,000 subscribers, and I said I was going to make the best video game of all time. The kind of game that would make EA blush. But what actually is better than a free-to-play game which is so addicting that everyone is willing to commit their entire life savings? I don't think there's anything that could be better than that. Oh wait, hang on a second. A game that introduces a subscription fee after getting everyone addicted to the game. Why, ladies and gentlemen, I believe this is the solution we've been waiting for. That's right. After signing up to our game and getting addicted, you will be asked to pay the monthly subscription fee of £10 billion per month. That's right. Just for the low price of £10 billion, you too can enjoy United Kingdom Hearts, the greatest game of all time. Perfectly balanced, and absolutely fantastic. Anyway, we've done it. The executives have told me that we've made an insane amount of money in just 1 week of running an MMO, which siphons money straight from your bank account into our share price. We had no real gameplay loop, no monsters, and just a bunch of fetch quests. But that was still enough to con thousands and thousands of people into playing our game. How perfectly balanced indeed. Anyway, thank you very much for watching today's video. Thank you for giving it a like. Thank you for leaving a wonderful comment, I'm sure. And of course, a very big thank you to our wonderful YouTube channel members and Patreons for funding all of this nonsense. You are all truly majestic sausages. Anyway, I'll see each and every one of you in the next one. Have an absolutely wonderful day, and goodbye for now.